I'm really excited that you singled out that scene because that was the riskiest scene in the whole movie. I mean, here we're talking about a story that many people don't believe is part of real history. I mean, we're talking about God flooding the whole world and only 8 people surviving in a boat with animals inside. In fact, all the animals you need to repopulate the earth with all the different species of animals. And the reason I put that scene in the movie is because that's really a terrifying story about tragedy and death. And it's about evil and violence. But in our culture, we don't like to talk about that so much. And so even within the church, we've turned the story of Noah's Ark into a cute little kid story about a little boat floating on top of the water with dolphins jumping out and rainbows in the sky and the little giraffe's neck poking out the top of the window in the boat. And we read this like it's some kind of a fairy tale to our kids, when in reality there would be drowned children in that water. I mean, this is the annihilation of the human race, save Noah and his family. And it's actually a story about death leading to the resurrection of the whole world, right? This is new birth. The world is being submerged in water, and it's coming out of the flood, almost like you're looking at the whole planet being baptized by a violent flood of water, and now you have a brand new world with a man and a woman. He plants a garden, a vineyard. We're back in a garden, and we're starting over again. But first came the death of the world before you have this new beginning with Noah. And it was important to me to talk about the fact that people don't like talking about death, but the truth is we all wonder why death comes to us and why God allows tragedy and bad things to happen to good people. And I think that gives us a clue about what's on the other side of death. When we read the story of Noah, what God puts in the sky is not something like a bow. He says, I'm going to hang my bow in the sky. And if we look in the scriptures, there's only one bow that God talks about that he has. And that bow is a bow that you and I would go buy at Bass Pro Shop, right? It's a bow and arrows. It's a bow. It's a weapon. And that's what people would use. And their wrath would be shot out like an arrow, right? Or with an arrow. And God is saying, I'm not going to destroy humanity ever again. I'm not going to flood the world with water. I'm not going to destroy it with a deluge. I'm going to hang my bow, my weapon of wrath, up in the sky. And if you look at a rainbow, it's got the shape of a bow. And I think that's why God used the word bow. And I just think it's interesting. There's no verse that says this, but I think it's interesting that that bow is pointed straight up. And it's interesting that the next time in the Bible you see God pouring out his wrath for the sin of the whole world, that arrow is shot straight at the Son of God, not on his creation, but at the one who came to rescue and save God's creation. And I just think that that's fascinating. While you and I have rebelled against God, we've selfishly shaken our fist in his face, we've violated our own conscience, we know what is wrong, and we turn from that, and we do it anyway. And instead of giving us what we deserve, like a just and righteous judge, God is even more gracious than that. He says, I'm going to satisfy my justice, but I'm going to show mercy to you. And God himself, in the form of Jesus Christ, a man walking on this earth, takes the punishment you and I deserve so that we could experience the mercy of God rather than the justice and the wrath of God because of our sin. And that's, again, an amazing story. And if we don't pay attention to the details of that, we'll miss the greatest thing that anyone's ever done for us.